Hi, welcome to Bridging the Gap.
Bridging the Gap.
Bridging the Gap.
Bridging the Gap.
I'm your host,
Cooper Green.
I'm Eric Larson.
Shaylee Johnson.
Boston Minor.
And this is our 1 year anniversary.
Hey, welcome. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Bridging the Gap. I am one of your hosts, Eric Larson, and I'm sitting here with our lovely podcast team. And we're going to review the last year and kind of go over maybe some favorites, not so favorites, kind of where we're at and where we're going. So let's get started. So how are you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this one. It'll be fun. A lot of
So
fun.
give some behind the scenes information to what we've done the last year.
Yeah, that'll be good. Let's just jump right into it and talk about maybe some of our favorite episodes that we've done in the last year.
Yeah.
Kind of some key takeaways, and then we can go from there.
Let's do it. You start us off.
Let's do it.
Oh, you want me to start us off?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
We're
Well,
host number one, man.
yeah,
You're the OG.
that episode was great. I learned a lot of what not to do. So I would have to say, I think my favorite episode would be when we got to go to Dave Ramsey's office location, headquarters, whatever you want to call it. And we got to film with George Camel. That was a unique one too, because our company uses the Financial Peace University app, and we use all the it helps support our employees. So we got to talk on that, coming off of our self-care event that we did back in May for all the employees, and just talked about different focuses in life and how to really do self-care, what that looks like. But this was the financial piece that I got to talk with my wife, Camille. I got to interview her and George Camel. So it was really cool. We had that couples dynamic talking about financial wellness, and I don't know, it's just cool. It's not every day you get to interview an influencer like that, especially with a spouse or something like that. It was really cool. So learned a lot from him. He's such a cool guy too. He's like, you want to come back and check out our studio? And he showed us his room, and we have our studio here, but just how they do it at that level. Mm-hmm. It's oh man, we'll get there someday.
Yeah, that's super cool.
But we also, as we're walking down the hallway, Rachel Cruz was walking down the hallway, and she's like, "Oh, hey guys," and it's just cool. It was almost surreal, but not a lot of people get to do that and see behind the scenes of what they do, and so I'm very lucky. I feel like that episode was just a cool experience.
Yeah, George is just a cool guy.
Yeah,
he's just super down to earth.
Oh yeah,
super humble. He's just a cool dude.
Yeah, he's real too. It's sometimes, people would be careful, don't meet your heroes, and because I don't know what they could be like, but George, dude, he's just a normal dude, man. Yeah. He's really cool. So.
Yeah. Be honest. Were you a little starstruck? Maybe not for George.
At first, yes.
Maybe for Rachel Cruz.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
I can
as
tell.
you're walking through.
Yeah, I can tell you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Well, okay. So George, the first time I met him, definitely
Yes.
was starstruck. But we've worked with him so many times that when he came to our self-care event, it was I was working with one of you guys. Seriously, he was it was just
the three of us are starstruck. We were setting up the social when they walked in the hotel, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, they're here!"
Yeah, we were up on the balcony, looking at him like they were celebrities. There he is.
It was really cool though. I think I've gotten used to George and John working with them a little bit, and because I've seen them a couple times. But yeah, Rachel Cruz probably. I was oh my gosh, it's Dave Ramsey's daughter. She does that Smart Money Happy Hour podcast, and it was just cool. But if I got to meet Dave Ramsey himself, oh yeah, I'd be well, we kind of did, because they do their live show, and then they'll like have a couple or success story about their debt-free scream.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's really cool. But we saw that live, and to see Dave Ramsey like walk out, like it was definitely was like big starstruck feeling that
Yeah.
I felt like. But
He was kind of glowing a little bit.
maybe it was the shine off of his head. I don't know. I could say that because I'm balding. So. Anyway, yeah, George Camel.
That was your best moment?
Yeah.
So now,
Here we go.
what about your worst?
Yeah. Episode 1, our UTPS Academy episode. It was in August of last year. Go check it out.
Is that the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
First
the first
episode?
one. I think, okay, there's a couple of things, lessons learned on that. And there's really good information from our Academy team and our teachers. Go watch it. If you have questions about Academy, Casey does a great job answering those questions, and then you get to hear from the actual academic case managers. But I think, like, when we initially set that, when we initially set that studio up, it looked like a high school newsroom.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It was
Like, I was like going to
so-
Walmart to get like shower curtains. No, it wasn't shower
was
curtains. It was
amateur.
blinds. It was bad.
What was all the decorations you guys put in the back? Like a bunch of
Okay, so those decorations.
that originally was covered with the curtains that he bought. We like had a rod or we taped it to the ceiling or something. I don't know. It was super scrappy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like taped to the ceiling. We had a table in front of it. It was like
Pulling.
all blacked, or it was navy blue or something, all blacked out. And we just
Yeah.
we were trying to test mics and stuff. It was rough. So yes, we scrapped it. We took some decorations and put them out on that shelf instead, and made it for back to school and used a couch.
We were pulling different chairs, man. It was so bad.
Yeah.
we didn't even have mics either. We just set like what was that mic? We just sat in the middle of the room.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I forgot we didn't even like use lapels or anything.
No, we used the shotgun mic on the cameras, and then we had a
Yeah.
Zoom. Just, it was bad.
Yeah.
But looking at what we do now, it's like, no better, do better.
Right, but it was also like they showed up and thought it was audio only, and so we
Mhm.
did this whole like
Yeah.
setup. We had cameras, and I don't know,
The
we
cameras
just
were
were like
intimidating.
felt like that was
Yeah.
normal because we were like, yeah, we're gonna have it on YouTube, we're gonna have it on everything that we can, and they're like, I'm glad I got ready, but I thought it was just my voice and not my face.
Surprise.
Yeah.
I think the probably, I wouldn't say the worst moment, but probably my biggest like, oh, why did I say that moment would be when I was talking.
Should we get a reaction first?
Let's watch it.
Okay.
You want to pull it up?
Yeah.
All right.
Give some context, though.
So we're talking about Academy, and we're diving into, we're trying to pull information out of our academic team for the parents and like what they should expect and who's Academy for, and maybe what the classroom looks like. And so as we're talking about this, they're talking about the kids and the trials that they have. And I ask a question. Let's watch it real quick. I'm going to ask kind of a harder question here, but what happens to a student that might not be teachable? I don't know.
The
oh,
The
man.
pause, too.
Might not be teachable. Oh, that was the worst. That was like, after I asked that, I was like, why did you ask that?
But Casey, he had your back on that one.
And then if you look
So
closely,
Casey,
you
here,
keep
play with just a little
talking.
bit longer. I think Casey comes up with a really good save. So shout out Casey Gressman, our Academy director. Is
So
there
it
anything
really,
like that?
really what we're looking at, I don't know if I'd consider any kid not teachable in that sense, or really we're looking at kiddos who maybe make such stagnant progress in their academic or maybe in their other treatment that it doesn't.
Casey, no kid is not teachable. Right, I said that right? Okay, see? Redemption.
No kid is
Yeah.
teachable, guys.
No kid's teachable.
Yeah. Those moments they're like double-edged, you know, like you want it to be cut from the episode so bad, but then whoever you're interviewing sometimes has a good response, and so then it stays in the episode.
Well, and I think
That's how, when we get to it, that's how my bad moment is.
well, and
It
like,
stayed.
did you see how long it took me to ask that question? Like, I've learned to just get to the point. Like, ask the question fast. You know.
But I think part of you was also like, I don't have a better word for this.
It's bad. Anyway, episode 1 was probably my most embarrassing moment. While we're on that, let's talk about your guys' best and worst.
I think since Shaylee brought it up, we gotta go to Shaylee's.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
Mine, my episode, it was, I don't even know. It was my second episode. But
No, I
it's
think it
maybe
was your
6th overall or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Anyways, it was the, like, how to strengthen yourself and your family during the holidays, something like that. So it was all about self-care and kind of setting boundaries. And it was with Shay and Bella, and it went well, but towards the end, like, I had all of my bullet points and whatever. And as hosts, sometimes just you're so focused on like what's coming next that everything's kind of just going through your head.
Mhm.
And so I didn't know how to segue, and I was trying so hard. And the whole time they were talking, I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. And then I didn't know what to say.
Let's watch it.
So that's why I paused so long. So, okay, let me pull it up. So, I mean, you never stop taking care of yourself, right? But, sorry, let me collect my whole thought. I say, sorry, and I thought we'd cut. I was like, this isn't making
Are you
it.
the type of person that you open the door for somebody at the grocery store or something, or just going somewhere? You're like, you open the door, you're like, sorry. Do you say it that
I think
much?
No,
Okay, all right.
I don't think so.
It depends on the situation.
But
Who.
I don't know, like, you're really good at when you don't want something to make it, you go, oh, cut. And I was just like, oh, sorry, and thought that was like a good cue to be like, I'm going to pause here for a second. Anyways, and so we can keep watching. I keep pausing, but then Shay wraps it up really well, and so it stays.
No, that's totally fine. Like it's okay to be jumbled, but like you still have a plan that you can like revert back to. Like it's not like you're just like winging it. It could be like
See?
that you can,
But that's
like,
fine.
revert back to.
That wasn't that
I
bad. It
know.
might be embarrassing for you.
But it's like a 20-second pause where I'm like, I don't know what to say, and I just keep moving. And I was moving my chair, and so like anytime that we
Oh, the
stopped,
swivel.
Bella was like, "Stop moving," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm distracting Bella too." Like it was a hot mess, and like behind the scenes, we were in a tiny room. It was boiling in there with the lights. There were 5 or 6 of us in there, and it was the first time you were there.
Yeah.
He had
First
just
one.
joined the team. It was his first podcast, and I'm like, I gotta be a good example, you know? And I feel like I blew it. The camera's overheated, and we've got fans going in the hall. Like, so many things were going, and I just couldn't ask a question.
But what did you learn?
What did I learn?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I was prepared, and I tried to have my bullet points, but I still froze. You know? But
We can
I
do a
don't know.
podcast in a
What's-
really tiny room. That's something that we learned. We
Yeah.
learned all about how not to let the cameras overheat. We learned about saying
do,
cut.
yeah.
We learned about that. Well, we learned that our team's got our back. Shay had a good save. Casey
Yeah.
saved me.
yeah.
Like, there's good stuff
I know.
in there.
And yeah, I guess we did learn like extra precautions and things that we could take so that set wise it would go fine. But
Yeah.
and I do think I'm okay at asking questions or
Yeah.
following up.
I think you're
It
overthinking
was
this one.
just, I know. And honestly, if I've heard anything as the one girl on on a boy team, you're overthinking it. Like I hear that, like, I would be the one to do it. So
Well, even while that was being edited, I was trying to cut that out or make it smooth out, but there was no way with Shay's response because then she goes into a whole nother tangent with that. So it's just like, well,
Gotta keep it.
deal with it, I guess. I don't know.
And it honestly, it's because it's visual too. Like if it was audio only, you could have cut out the whole thing. You wouldn't even know.
Oh, yeah.
Or like the long pause at least, because I just like stare.
But that's what
For
makes it
so
fun
long.
is the video. I
But
think.
because you can watch the video,
yeah,
you gotta keep it.
you can listen and watch. It just depends on what you prefer. But
Yeah,
I think
but
it's
for the
fun.
sake of our watchers.
Yeah.
Just like Eric said, I don't think anybody really noticed it. I'm sure
Yeah.
that while they're listening to it, they're like, Shaylee's really fumbling here. Like, we gotta think about this for a second. Pause the episode. Like, nobody's gonna do
That's
that.
gonna keep me up a little bit.
Great, Cooper, you just made it worse.
Yeah.
I'm gonna overthink that one.
You were saying you overthink?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Why do you think I show up with all the bullet points? I gotta cover. Oh,
Meanwhile,
man.
I'm just like, what are we filming today? Who are we talking to?
It's like those videos on like how you think the boss walks in, but how they really walk in, and it's like how you think they are, and it's like they're on the phone and they've got like their little dog like their dog in a purse, and they're like getting fanned when they're walking in. You're like, what are we doing today?
Sounds like that could be my Halloween costume.
Yeah. That sounds like Will Ferrell in Zoolander, his character. He's got the little dog.
Oh,
That's you. That's what you should be for Halloween. Zoolander.
Oh, we totally could do that. Braden, you're going down. Braden, if you're watching, he is one of our regional office managers, and his costumes are phenomenal every year. So
Him
shout out to him
and
and his team.
His group.
Wherever he ties in, yeah. Anyway,
Nail it every year.
We're coming for you.
We're coming for you.
We're coming for you.
We've spent the last year coming up with ideas,
Yeah.
so
Bring it. Anyway,
Yeah.
well, how about let's shift over into like your best.
I need to redeem
Let's get more
you
positive.
here.
Yeah.
I'd say just overall, my best episode was my first episode, and it was our second overall, and that's the suicide awareness episode. It was so packed full of resources, and we had some amazing guests. We had Allison Phillips. She's one of our mental health and behavioral health clinicians, but she was there with her mental health clinician hat on. And we had Mindy Dieter. She's now on the billing team. She was one of our office managers at the time. And she shared some of her personal experiences, and she's also a member of the AFSP, American.
I'm glad you brought that up
I
because
don't know
that's
what's-
coming
I
up
can't remember
too.
what it's
That's in September.
Yeah, and so they do their suicide awareness walks, and that was September last year. So that was why we did the episode, was to kind of plug those resources and get an inside scoop on how it goes, and also just to share their stories and some resources for anybody else that's struggling. And so I feel like it went really well, and I feel like we were really comfortable. Like, I was obviously nervous because it was my first time hosting, but it went really well, I think. And hopefully had a really good impact. Like,
Yeah, that was a good episode.
we
Yeah.
got a couple of comments and whatever about it, but you always hope that every episode has something, and I think that one.
There's some good gems in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Well,
that is mine.
not to plug in, but also to plug in the suicide walks. The Association for Suicide Prevention walks are coming up. We have 3 of them that we're sponsoring. One in Cedar City, one in West Jordan, Utah, and then the other one in Manaway, kind of up by Brigham City.
Yeah.
Up the canyon, I think.
Yeah, I think it was cut, but I definitely called it Mantua
Mantua.
in the episode. And Mindy, she's in Brigham. She's like, I can tell you're not from there.
It's Manaway.
It's Manaway.
I was like, but there's a T.
Yeah.
Have you been to Tooele, Utah?
Right.
It's Thule. Yeah. But
It's Ula.
I think they're September 7th and the 14th. So
Yeah.
when this episode's posted,
And I think they're every Saturday throughout the month, depending
Yes.
on your city
Yeah.
anyway. So
they have
definitely
them. I know there are a
check it out.
couple others throughout Utah, like Richfield, St. George, Logan, maybe. But the biggest one's in Salt Lake, and it's in the West Jordan Veterans Memorial Park on September 14th. So if you guys are watching this, you want to participate and help,
Yeah.
it's a free
Come
event to
say
go
hi to our
to. Yeah,
team.
come say hi to our team. We're there. So
Do you guys know
Good.
the website on the top of your head?
I think it's afsp.org. But we can put a link in the comments too.
Yeah.
So
So
anyway. All right. Well,
yeah.
good. Cool. Boston.
My turn?
Yeah.
You're up.
Oh, boy. Well,
What do you want to start with?
well, my best and worst comes from the same episode.
Okay.
So I'll start with my best.
Yeah.
Which was the Nicole Detling episode.
Nice.
And I think it was the best just because the vibes were just so good. And the conversation was really good. Her and Bella, their dynamic together is just super good. So like everything was just flowing.
Can you give us a little context on Bella and her relationship to Nicole a little bit? Like, she was her coach, wasn't she?
Mhm.
She was a
Performance
She was
coach?
her mentor or something
Mentor?
while she was
softball at
playing
Utah.
softball at
softball at the U.
U.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have a little bit of backstory. So, yeah, they were just super cool to talk to. Nicole is exactly how she is behind the camera, as in the front of the camera. A lot of people really liked her at the self-care event hosting. So, like, yeah, she's the exact same. She's super cool. I guess I'll tie this into my worst moment now, which is starting to happen again. There's a moment in the episode, it's probably the whole episode, but there's a specific moment in the episode where I'm talking about my experiences in high school. And it sounds like I'm about to cry. And it sounds like I'm about to cry right now. I just
bring
have
tissues. Do you have tissues?
I know every time I host, I should have tissues next to me.
Yeah.
Box of tissues.
A prop that we have
Stop
in
rubbing your eye, dude. You're not helping your case right now.
Gosh. But I just have the shakiest voice in the world. And when I host, I just like lose my confidence so that my voice starts to shake. Anyway, we can play the clip.
What did you learn from that? Like, how do you...
What did I learn from sounding like
Well,
I
let's
cried?
watch it first. I guess. Sorry.
Cringes me
We're
out.
our own toughest critics, man.
We-
Like, I hear about both of your experiences. I'm like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, unteachable kids. Oh my god.
I don't know. I mean, apparently listeners could be like, oh my gosh, he really fumbled there.
Can't believe it. Just so-
I gotta go tell my family about this. This is insane.
Did you hear that episode where it sounds like Boston's crying?
Why is he gonna cry?
Okay.
When I was in 10th grade, I played basketball.
Nice.
And I never really got playing time. And so I really struggled with that. The time, And like, my whole cracked. team did. And I always look back at that. Nah, you can stop it. It's fine. I don't
No,
know.
it didn't sound that bad. Okay, you did sound a little bit like when you were talking about...
At first, but like,
Yeah.
I don't really notice. Like,
But also, it's like such a moment that you would normally sound emotional. And so it's just a funny cue. Like,
I know, it's like the perfect moment for me to sound that way.
Yeah.
I wasn't about to cry. Maybe I was.
But I
Never
didn't
know.
really notice it during the podcast either, because I mean, we're sitting in the background, right?
Oh, I during the
When I was-
podcast, I knew. I was
I
like,
didn't.
oh, I sound like I'm
I
crying right
didn't
now.
think about it, but then you mentioned it, and I was like, oh, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, even when it's being edited, I didn't notice anything.
Like, I already have a shaky voice when I talk, but I just got, like, way worse during that moment.
But if you're going to cry, do it when the cameras are
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Make it
exactly.
confident.
Maybe one of these times I will just cry. I'll just let it loose. Anyway, yeah, that's my worst moment for sure. That one keeps me up at night for sure.
It's that, I just think of that Squidward meme where he's like laying in bed and his eyes crack open.
Yeah, bloodshot. Yeah. That's going to be me tonight.
Fumbling, huh? Just joking. Well, last but not least.
Well, you didn't get into your best moment.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. I was talking about the Nicole Datling
You opened
episode.
with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You're up.
Okay,
You're
well,
getting out of it.
Yeah. He's
Nice try, buddy.
Yeah.
well, I guess I'll start with the worst moment.
Oh, yes.
This was it was our 4th episode. It was your 2nd time hosting with Coach Judkins.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
Yeah, we. So, do you want to give a little context about the partnership with Utah
Oh,
Tech?
Yeah, so Utah Behavior Services partners with Utah Tech University down in St. George, Utah. And one of the cool opportunities that we got to do for this partnership was interview the men's basketball coach there, Coach Judkins. And a lot of the values that you see here and kind of our culture aligns with what their season entails for this year. And so we get talking about some things of like through the storm and how like we press on and how we step up and step in for each other. And so all these things that we were talking with our sponsorship rep was like, oh, you should really talk with Coach Judkins. So we ended up scheduling and getting a podcast episode with him. And man, we went down to St. George. It was like a quick turn and burn, get the equipment down there, hurry and set up. It was really fast. Like you guys did a really fast, good job setting up the equipment. And then we were in this phase of, it was just me and Bella sitting on the couch waiting because we were waiting for Judkins to come down, and we were just kind of talking with each other. And yeah, do you want to go from there?
I think we scheduled the podcast to start at 11:30, and then we got there like an hour, definitely an hour and a half early. We got everything set up. There were still like 30 minutes, so it was like probably 11 o'clock around that time, if I recall correctly. And all the equipment set up, 15-minute passes, it's 11:15. I'm doing my double checks again, making sure all the cameras are good,
And
the
then
switcher, everything.
And then the coffee hits.
I don't drink coffee, that's the thing.
Oh, no. So the nerves.
Yeah, I hate coffee.
Yeah.
It just doesn't taste good.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, anyway, it's 11:20. And I'm like, yeah, it'll be quick. I can hurry, because we're down in this like basement area. It's like what room was it?
It was like their VIP, like,
It was like
Lounge.
a lounge.
It was
or
like a
something. They had like
team-
drinks and couches.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had some there was like a soda fountain in there. It was a cool like little relaxing area. But you have to walk down a good flight of stairs to get down there. And the bathroom was like around the corner of the hall. I'm like, it'll be fine. So as soon as I left the door,
Dude, the second you left, like the door closed and the other door opened, and like you guys literally,
of course, the coach walks in.
coach walks in, and me and Bella did our best to hold him off, and it was like we were stalling.
We're standing
Yeah.
around a table trying to give him the bullet points. Huh?
Dude, and
Was
it
he
was
on
like
his schedule?
5 minutes, and
Like-
he was like, "So, are we starting?"
Yeah. He's like, I know the lowdown. What's holding
And I
us
was like,
up?
well, actually, we're just waiting for Cooper. He's going to be running the show on the back side of things. Where's he at? And we're like, bathroom. He's like, oh, come on, Cooper. So you set the tone really, really good for Coach Judkins. You came in all smiles, and we're all just like trying not to laugh because we just outed you.
Yeah, I
That
heard.
bus just went poof. Oh, sorry, Cooper.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I take care of my business, and then I come downstairs and I see everyone sitting down. You're sitting down, Bella and the coach, and then some of the assistants are in the back. Everyone's looking at me, and I'm like, oh crap. So I hurry and like run back to the computer and double check all the equipment, because I like to double check and make sure everything's good. But like I was such a rush in the moment that I thought I had a couple more minutes to just do one more system check. But I'm like, since everything was double checked, it's all good.
And to be fair, dude, like when you check stuff, you like check the blocks on stuff. So like it's always set up perfectly. Like I think you do a really good job at that. But
Yeah.
But yeah, like once I saw your guys' audio ringing on the monitor and it was all in a rush of a moment, I'm like, just push record, and you guys started off the episode. That was a pretty good episode though.
yeah, I liked it. It was very, dude, that coach, man, he is on point. Like him,
Yeah.
but like the communication style between him and Bella too, because you could definitely tell Bella has that athletic mindset of like,
Mhm.
oh, we're gonna do this, and like we're gonna go, and that mindset. He's like, I think he even was like, man, you should come like.
Yeah.
You should
Yeah.
come
Motivate my team.
Yeah, for real. So it was a good episode. It's fun.
So yeah, that's sorry listeners, we don't have a video for that, but
Go and watch the episode. It's a good one anyway.
but I would say my best moment is when we did the podcast on up at the hill, Capitol Hill. That's our, I don't know what episode that would be, but that was our Hearts on the Hill episode. I thought it was an incredible experience to actually take all of our equipment and go to the Capitol, because we did that the day before the Hearts on the Hill, right? Before we,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that
a
was-
couple,
It
one
was
or
the
2 days
13th because Hearts on the
before.
Hill is always on Valentine's.
Mhm,
Yeah.
So
But I remember you had to edit it quick because we
Yeah.
wanted it out
mhm.
like
with the
day
event
of.
so we could, push the
Oh, yeah.
message.
Yeah, I thought it was so cool to bring all the equipment up there and actually do it in the Utah Capitol building, and do it and the Hearts, just to give some context on the Hearts of the Hill, every year we like to bring our clients, and they'll write Valentines to our legislators, and they actually hand it to them. And it's so cool to see their interactions together. And that's also another way for UTBS to advocate for, these services for our clients as well.
Well, and it's cool too because they're passing policy up at the Hill that's going to affect not just the companies that provide these services, but the families and their kids for the rest of their lives.
Exactly.
And so for the legislators to get actual one-to-one time with the clients that they're impacting, it's
it puts a face to the policy.
It's reassuring that, hey, like, we're all working together to help build better policies, to help build better services, to help build better teams, help build better successful outcomes for these kids and these families. That it's like, that's probably like one of my favorite events. We get a lot of good feedback from those events.
Yeah.
It's a good way to kick off the year, if you will. Like, it is in February, but it's our first big event of the year.
Yeah, and the episode just flowed really well with Natalie and Carrie. Listeners, you should go give it a listen if you want to hear more context about why we started getting involved with the legislators and how we got in contact with Carrie and how he was able to help us advocate for our clients and the families. And it's just one of those episodes where they tag team off of my questions and they tag team off each other. And I feel like there's a lot of good there's a lot of good info and history on that as well.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really good episode.
It is good.
So let's shift gears a little bit here. We're going to talk more about where we're going with this. I think we've had some really great experiences with our self-care event, our guests that we've had on the podcast. I think, talking a little bit about George Camel, kind of a teaser, we get to talk about a little bit about John Deloney. So that's up and coming. Cooper actually got to host that episode. And so that was actually really cool to watch behind the scenes, because I think there's only 3 of us in the room at that time, and it's soundproof. And
there was 4 because
there's 4 of us in that room because it was soundproof and they couldn't hear us on the other side, so they're just having a conversation. But I know what's coming, so I think it's going to be great. But
John will be our next episode for those that are waiting for it to come out. And then we also have some other self-care speakers that are going to be on the podcast. So we have Dave Austin that's coming up, and we also have Nicole. She's going to be back quarterly, actually. So
stay tuned.
If anyone was a little bit like, I wish she would have spoken at the event and not just hosted, you're going to get so much more from her over the next the next year.
Yeah.
We'll have quite a few more coming with her. So super stoked about that.
So if you do have any questions for our podcast, please make sure and email us at bridgingthegap@utbs.co.
This is your time.
Yeah.
This will be a good Q&A opportunity. All your self-care, all of your mental health questions, they are your people.
Yeah.
Once again, our email is in our description, so please, it's there. Shoot us an email.
I almost said, it's UTBS Academy. Like, that was just what was in my head. I was like, it's not Academy. But looking forward, I mean, that was just one event that we've done this year. We also were in Texas earlier this summer. I think it was more summertime. It was late April, I believe. We went, our directors went to Entre Leadership. That was hosted by Ramsey Solutions Group. And then after that, our team went to CASP for more of an advocacy focus. And so we had those 3 episodes that came out. We sat down with Co-op, and we had our first timers talk, and we had Matt Korn from Fisher Phillips come and sit down and talk to me and Steve Hard, and it was a good time. It was also super full circle. Like, I had only been to CASP one other time the year before, and I sat in on PodCasp. They had a short class, if you will, or breakout, I guess is what it's called.
Wait, what is podcast? So our listeners.
It's
It's
a coalition of autism service providers. Did I say
that
that
right?
right?
CASP, but they also had PodCasp, a little play on words.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So that's the podcast that CASP hosts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So it was fairly new at the time, I believe. I don't know how long they've been going, but yeah, so they had that breakout. We, as a team, had been talking about starting a podcast with a T. So I was super stoked to go. And they we were all just sitting there waiting for, I don't know, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like, this is what you do to start, or this is how we do it, or but they basically just like pointed around the room and were like, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? And then they picked people that were close, put them at a table, and just started recording. Like, they just had a mic in the middle of the table,
Nice.
and
So
it was awesome.
was it like a scripted Q&A kind of a thing, or
Not scripted at all.
Really?
No,
Wow.
like we were just there.
just going?
And yeah, it was so good. And I think they did 2 or 3 episodes, or at least segments. I don't know if they grouped them together. But yeah, super impressive. And so I remember I left it, and I think it was lunch after that, or I don't know. Anyways, we end up meeting up for lunch, whatever. I was like telling people at the table I was so excited, and then I went outside and I called Eric and I was like, guess what? I'm so excited. Like, we've got to start this podcast. Like, just so excited to bring it home. And like, I think just the core of making videos that matter is asking people what they're passionate about, and that's how they set the tone. And so I was like, that's what we're gonna do. And we have so many staff and so many other connections in the community with super impactful stories, so why not go around, what are you passionate about, what has changed you, what's your why?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Make a
'cause
show out of it.
I think like future episodes that we're going to have, I really want to share people's stories,
Yes.
whether they're clients, if we can figure that out, navigate that,
Yeah.
or employees, or like just growth stories. And then also find out, why is this industry, like, what are the pitfalls of it? What's really hard?
Mhm.
What do people not talk about? Like, I know when we were just at Utah last week, and a lot of the questions were, how do you recruit for behavior technicians?
Mm.
How do you recruit for BCBAs? Like, how do you keep people? And I'm like, well, it's really your culture, right? At the end of the day, people stay because people quit bosses, they don't quit the job. And I'm like, that's kind of my philosophy.
Mm.
But it's exciting because it's like, well, let's see where we can go. And we would love the audience's input on like, what questions do you have that we could talk about? And we can find those subject matter experts, or we can find those people maybe not in our organization even, to kind of help guide us through.
Yeah. Well, and that's what was so cool about our cast moment this year, was then we were able to bring it back. Like, we brought our own.
What was your biggest takeaway, like, from that?
I mean, that was my first time going there. I think the biggest takeaway I was able to see was it was so cool to see other BCBAs connect, because given as this field is growing, that gave our team the opportunity to go connect with other BCBAs from other states as well. And not only, because I'm assuming that they only connect with the BCBAs that only work here at UTBS, but that conference is just loaded full of mental health clinicians and BCBAs and any other individuals who are licensed. And it was a cool way for them to like share their expertise, but also learn from other people and find ways to reconnect and just make services better overall.
Yeah.
100%.
It's super collaborative. And we did have 5 of our leadership team members speak.
Yes, 5.
So we were able to kind of join the conversation more this year.
Because I think Casey he talked about academics and ABA, correct? And then Allison and Cammie, they talked about quality assurance.
Yeah, our fireproof box.
And do you know what Shay and Nicole talked about?
Yeah, they talked about bridging the gap.
Wow.
So they were there to inform our title of our podcast and how our service model works, helping kids that need both ABA services, mental health services, maybe medication management. We're kind of that one-stop shop, if you will, to support the family in a more holistic way. And that was a super powerful presentation. I feel like lots of people had lots more follow-up questions, because it is like we want to help and strengthen our families as much as we can. So yeah, everyone's kind of trying to figure out how to be more innovative in that way, I feel like. And so it's a good way to kind of pave that conversation.
I feel like you can feel that passion from everybody that you guys interviewed too. Like,
yeah,
not just from the UTBS team, but everybody that goes to that conference. I feel like it's their mission to be there, and they're doing it
Yes.
you know, for the people they serve.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. It's like, you know, you're in the right place when it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I feel good. I need to be here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even a clinician, and I'm like, yeah, this is a good team.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
but
Yeah.
anyway, well,
But looking forward, you know, love to take it back next year. Maybe get Dan and Lori on the podcast.
yeah, I would love to talk with Dan and Lori.
Maybe get the hosts of podcast on, you know, like really
This
bring
is
it
your-
all the way.
This is your call to action.
Yeah. Not a name drop.
Yeah. I know Lori was big on. She wants to. What does good ABA look like? Because I know her thing right now is like misinformation on ABA, and like there's some horror stories that they were talking about, like with new parents, and they have a kid that just barely got diagnosed, and she's like, some of the things that she said she was hearing, she was like, if I had heard that as a new mom,
Mhm.
finding that out, I don't think I would have done ABA, which that's scary. So I think that would be a really good topic. What does good ABA look like in the industry?
Yeah.
So
It's
anyway,
powerful.
yeah. Well, you guys have anything else? I
What
think
about you guys? Looking forward?
Yeah.
Anything else you wanna?
you want to add?
I'm just excited to hear more from the self-care speakers because I think that, especially with like Nicole, people didn't hear enough from her, and they really liked her personality and her energy. So I'm just excited for people to hear more from them. Thank you for listening to Bridging the Gap. If you need any more information or resources, go to utahbehaviorservices.com.
You can also follow more of our day-to-day on our socials at Utah Behavior Services.
Also, don't be afraid to reach out and email us at bridgingthegap@utbs.co.
All right, that should do it for us here. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.